Greetings, fellow Guardians, and welcome back to another installment of the Hateful Geeks. We're going to be discussing a brand new video game drop that we're all really excited about on this September 12th, National Video Game Day. We're going to be talking about Destiny 2, the long-awaited sequel of the cross-platform first-person shooter from Bungie. Big game, been out for a while. 2 is super exciting. So let's go ahead and kick it off. Welcome again to the Hateful Geeks. My name's Phil.
This is Sweeney.
I'm Andy.
And this is Tim.
And this week, we're going to be discussing Destiny 2.
Woo!
3 out of 4 of us here, woo is correct,
Woo!
sir. Most of us here are extreme gamers. We've been playing games since we were, itches in our daddy's groins. Destiny has taken up a lot. I think those of you who listen to previous episodes know that we've mentioned this game quite often. And Destiny 2 just dropped on Tuesday. We're extremely excited, and we've been having a very good time playing and leveling up. So this week, we wanted to kind of go in and review the game, and our buddy Tim has never played Destiny a day in his life, and we're going to see if we can convince him to pick it up and play with us by the end of this episode. So Tim, as a gentleman who's never been exposed to the Bungie Destiny universe, please, what kind of questions do you have for us?
So I've got a page full of questions because I play video games, but these kind of massive online games, first person, they don't really appeal to me, and they haven't really since Halo 2, maybe.
Get out.
I'd rather play Uncharted.
I mean, I enjoy the Uncharted games as well. Those are great story, great characters. Destiny's a little bit different. Kind of a combination of a first-person shooter and an MMO. It's called an action first-person shooter, is how Bungie's trying to brand it. But for those of us that are year oneers, day oneers from Destiny 1, MMO FPS.
We just call it awesome. I mean,
we do call it awesome.
It's fucking awesome.
I think it's. I mean, the first game certainly lacks a cohesive story. I understand there was a lot.
Oh God. It was
problems in the production aspect, including music, plot, script. But mechanically speaking, this is one of the most solid gaming experiences I've ever had.
Even
the
gunplay. I noticed the lack of story in the first one.
Wait, you did?
And I couldn't care less.
You didn't even watch the cutscenes.
No.
That was going to be my first question. Is that because I enjoy stories in video games. Like Metal Gear Solid is my favorite game series, and that's very cutscene heavy.
Yeah. Sure.
What's the story of Destiny?
Andy notoriously doesn't pay attention to plot in anything he touches, unless it's Lord of the Rings.
That's the
so
story.
With everyone's permission, I'll gladly field this question. Destiny 2. We'll start with Destiny 1.
Let's start at the beginning. Let's just jump right into.
It's only 2 games, so it's not a whole lot of catch up.
Right. Let me paint you a glorious picture.
The first one didn't have much story, so it's literally 18 minutes of story.
Okay.
Hundreds of years in the future, long after humanity has been expunged from the universe by what's called the darkness. Super clever name.
I need a better voice. I might need a movie voice here.
Hundreds of years in the universe.
That was like Super Friends narrator, and I appreciate it so much.
Back at the Legion of Doom. All jokes aside. So imagine this: humanity is. We finally started to expand in our own galaxy. We become a spacefaring race, and we come across a creature. It's really a gigantic spherical machine that we dub the Traveler. Think like Michael Crichton's Sphere, except a little bit less ominous. The Traveler imbues a portion of humanity with this supernatural ability to control a life force, like the light is what
He's
we
like
call
God, essentially.
Okay.
it. I think there's a little. I don't know if there's any. I think we tend to make religious zealotry out of anything. A friggin' acorn drops in the wrong way towards wind, and
It
we're
was
like,
Jesus.
did it.
Jesus, I saw it.
So
He
the
flicked that
traveler is
acorn.
Jesus
probably
did
more
it.
machine than actual supernatural creature, but for the most part, it imbues us with the ability of light, and we use this to harness all the energies of the universe. We have like a golden age of technology. Humanity is like the shiznit. We can do anything we want. We make anything we want, especially guns, because we're really good at that.
But, I mean, humans just shoot shit and blow shit up. That's kind of what we
More
do.
or less.
This is what we do.
So humanity has had this golden age, and then out of nowhere, the traveler's ancient enemy that we didn't even know about because it doesn't talk to us and tell us these things, called the darkness, shows up and in one foul swoop just completely decimates us, and we get basically put on the endangered species list on our own planet. Destiny 1 opens up with your character being like resurrected from the grave by a ghost, which is like a little floaty ball, which was originally voiced by Peter Dinklage in the first game.
Dinklebot.
Tyrion.
And little floaty ball. He talks to you. He does all your talking for you. But for the most part, he like resurrects you, gives you light, and you become a guardian of the traveler from
Right.
the last city of humankind.
So that's kind of like their job is to put you back together when you mess up.
Okay.
Ah,
But we as players take on the roles of guardians, and we have become like the undead, resurrecting, mega space magic Jedi race of
Right.
humanity, fighting off multiple alien races that just want to just butt fuck our planet.
so they kind of like
And
play
us.
into the story of like respawning. You know, like how every game has respawning. you know?
Right. So
There's a reason
us,
now.
This is
us
explained.
humans can respawn.
right.
And that's
So the,
okay.
the ghost is like the
That's
reason
actually-
why we can.
That's
because
actually pretty cool.
they heal you and then they, you die. They resurrect you.
Right. Okay.
So
That's
there's like
really
a lot of cool alien races in Destiny, which is kind of like where because this is Bungie. Bungie made Halo 1. And I know we've had some disagreements with Halo in the past.
Awesome.
But Bungie does good story for the most part, and good universe building. So the three big races that we fight against are the Vex, which are like a hive mind, time traveling robot race. They have like little like jars of like
Goo.
proto milk that are like they used to be alive, but they've joined like this cyborg infinite race of time traveling assholes who reshape all the planets using time travel.
So like the Borg almost.
a
A
little,
little bit like the Borg, except they can actually go forward and back in time and shit like
And
that.
they're actually-
change things to how they want it to be.
And like you said, they have like bio parts to them, like
Okay.
so they're not completely machines. At one point, they were actually like somewhat organic, but they're no longer that at all. And like you said, they're a hive mind, so every member can hear everything at once.
Okay.
So that's why they explain like a lot of times they show up all at once because they all heard
Because
the
they've all
same
heard
thing.
like the telepathic like call.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the other big race is the Fallen, and they've actually occupied Earth and a lot of different parts of it. They're like a scavenging spider humanoid race.
Lots of arms.
And
Nice.
a little bit less arms. But the premise here is that they like have this caste system where they're like really crappy little dregs all the way up to like archons, which are like huge and have more arms, and they judge how powerful you are in their societies, how many arms you have and how
Mhm.
big you are. And the way they get big is they huff this stuff called ether. they huff
They're
space
huffers.
gas
Drugs.
to get super strong, and like they basically want to just turn all of Earth into an ether farm.
Well, that and they'll actually like they'll cap their dregs so they can't grow additional arms. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So like the
a
max is
forced.
like
It's like a forced.
right. Like max is like 6 or 7 or.
Well, no, max is like 4.
Oh, okay. Well, I was
6
just
maybe.
thinking of an arbitrary number.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, but like no, so like the dregs only have 2 because they got their other sockets capped.
okay.
I apologize. I misspoke before. There's actually 4 big races, so there's 2 more of the big ones. The other one is the Cabal, which are like a giant space turtle / rhino.
They are.
They're like huge fatties with
Big
armor.
armor.
And they all shoot rocket launchers. It's like they're all a bunch of warfaring
beefy
Roman.
tanks.
Yeah, just think,
Empire
think,
Damn.
think of like
wannabes.
Mad Max Dirty, but with like armored tanks.
All right.
armored, obese
Ar-
turtle
yeah.
people.
Yeah, kind of what that's kind of what they have. They kind of like throw their shit together. They have like dirty ships that kind of they produce like black smoke, kind of like the from
The Reavers
the
from
Reavers, yeah,
Firefly.
kind of like the Reavers.
Oh,
But
okay.
they're not cannibals. They're
Right.
just the style of their ships and stuff like
Right.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're very like Roman Empire-esque, like legionnaires and shit like that, phalanxes. The other race that's a big one is the Hive, and they're a little bit more Borg than the Vex are. The Hive are like a bioorganic virus that like breeds and hatches and very alien-esque, and they take over bodies like a spore / symbiotic. I don't even know how to describe it.
Have you ever played
gross.
StarCraft?
Long time ago.
Like the Zerg.
They're like the Zerg.
Oh, okay.
So they're very animalistic. They're
Right.
very they look like bugs, a lot of them. But they also have like magic, like dark magic they use too.
Yeah, space magic is supernatural and technology play a role in the Destiny universe.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a mix of both. Because a lot of stuff is technological, like the Ghost, like, you know, your armor, your guns, stuff like that. But then there's also like some magic that's running, like there's different classes that you can use different types of magic. So
Okay.
it's a mix.
So as I was saying before, like the humanity basically was on the brink of extinction until our character, the greatest guardian ever, gets resurrected, and we just fight off the darkness, all these races trying to invade Earth. We beat them back. We defeat them in raids. It's a lot like World of Warcraft in that aspect. There's like small raids, there's big raids, there's PvP, there's open worlds, quest finding and shooting. This is all behind the barrel of a gun. So what basically happens is year 3 of Destiny 1, we've beaten all of them back. Earth is ours again. It's the age of triumph. Humanity is back from the brink of extinction. Destiny 2 opens up with the Cabal literally fisting us on our own doorstep of the last city and just destroying everything and kicking us out into the wild.
Well, but before we get to that too, like they did some expansions on the first one too. So there was some more story in there. They kind of dive into like some bosses, like major faction like leaders, and like another one that is kind of another race, but not really, is the Taken, which is essentially it's a skin off of like the Hive, but it's all the
races.
But he actually can like take any race and make it his own. So
they're all shadowy and they come out
Yeah.
of like big black holes.
Okay.
It's
So
really
it's
not.
Yeah, they look like weird ghost versions of everything you've already seen. They're just really,
So it's
they look cool.
yeah. It's not really a race, but it's like it's just its own. Like this guy can pretty much take everything.
Right. That's what I was just about to ask, is because Phil had mentioned like year 3 of Destiny with the Age of Triumph and everything. So the story goes on past like the initial.
Well, not much.
Okay.
So the first one kind of had the issues of the story. Like the story was awful. Unless you read like all the grimoires, because they had like collectibles you'd find in the game.
Mhm.
And as you unlock them, you could read more of these cards that give you more story. But
on the website, not in the game.
Not in the game. Oh yeah, you actually have to go to the website.
Oh, you had to, that's
Yeah. So it was really stupid. Like nobody's going to do that. Like,
Yeah.
I want the story in the game. I want to read. I don't want to go somewhere else and read it. Like I want that. I'll get a
Right,
book.
right.
You know? It was dumb.
I mean, it's like Final Fantasy stuff when like they put like journals.
Right.
And you find pages of
Exactly.
the journals and stuff like that.
So yeah, they kind of worked that. You know, they added more on, but they didn't really add more story. It was like, here, go kill these guys now. Oh no, go kill these guys now.
Oh, here's this new race. Go kill them. Okay.
So here's the thing, Tim. The history of all these races and all the like the fluff and inner story of the game isn't in Destiny 1. You wouldn't know any of this unless you read all these grimoires and try to decode Bungie's secret messages and shit like that.
Like
you had to be dedicated
Right.
to actually pick up on the plot of this game.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, is that like how like is it something you unlock in the game and then like go to the website and like put in a code and then here's this like grimoire journal?
It's
Yeah,
essentially
pretty
once.
much.
So in game, there's what they call dead ghosts.
Yeah.
You find these dead ghosts, and they're hidden outside the map. They had guides on how to find them, and as you go find these, you earn what's called a grimoire score.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
as your grimoire score upgrades and you unlock certain sections, then you can go online and based upon your profile, read the story.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't like that.
And I was not going to read anything about it.
Right.
And
And you're
Whoa,
about
whoa, 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 whoa,
98%.
whoa, whoa,
so
whoa,
my
whoa,
favorite part
whoa,
about
whoa.
like when we played any MMO, if we played anything online, I skipped the story.
Yeah.
I play these because of that like competitive nature of I want the best gear.
Mhm.
I want to do the best content. I want to beat the best content. I couldn't give two shits about the actual story. Just get me to where you want me to kill something and give me something awesome to kill it with.
except for Sweater.
I love
You
how he
like
brags
Sweater.
about this mentality too. Like you brag about this, like it's awesome. But
No, everybody plays a game to their own style. Everyone plays for something. There's nothing out there that says you have to play this game to enjoy the story. No, I don't. I literally don't. I could go and I could kill shit and I could kill it with awesome swords, axes, shotguns, like anything in these MMO style games, and it was awesome. And it's cool. I get to get the gear, customize my guy, make him look how he wants. Sweater, you're right.
Yeah, you like Sweater.
Sweater was the only MMO that I enjoyed the leveling aspect.
And by those who don't know, Sweater is Star Wars: The Old Republic, another MMO game that was awesome leveling, end game awful.
Yeah, we beat that end game like hardcore. We beat both of the hardest level raids in the same night and with under 3 hours.
Yeah, it was like
we all looked at each other
stupid.
like, I guess we win.
Yeah, like, okay, this is over.
We're done.
Good stuff, guys. Bye. It was bad. But yeah, so like they did not adhere to the casual gamer that Andy is,
Right.
Which is fine. I mean, Andy, and a lot of gamers are that way. They want to just go shoot shit and actually enjoy the action of the game. And some people like Phil and I love the story. They like to read the stuff. Like to actually find out like the what's the word? Like the background of where it's coming from. I love that part of the stories.
My curse is that I'm a completionist.
That too.
Unfortunately, I'm OCD when it comes to
which is why I hate games like Borderlands because there's so much you can do.
Right.
And I'm a completionist like that. I want to go. I always get lost and just go. I never know what to do next. I'm like, I don't want to miss something.
See, I'm a completionist, but not to that point.
Oh,
I can't. Like I'm not the type of person that like has to collect all the trophies on PlayStation. Or
I don't
like
like the trophies. It's just like I want to like make sure I don't skip something.
Right.
Surprisingly,
I mean, that's for like an instance. Yeah.
So Destiny's had a lot of pros and cons. The least first Destiny. I mean, obviously, we all agree the mechanics were there. The gunfighting is great. The overall universe building is very good.
It's pretty.
No, very little plot, and there were problems with like bugs and content. I guess for a while, for a lot of us, the content really veered downward before the last expansion, and we kind of took a break from it.
That and there's a lot of waiting.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of load times. The way you traveled in this game was by spaceship, obviously, because you're going from planet to planet. Their load time was you going to orbit and flying.
I remember seeing the load screen of just a spaceship.
So you would be
while.
up there for, you have to like, if you go to one planet, I have to go back. I forgot something. Have to go back to orbit, wait for that, then go all the way back.
Right.
So yeah, and then do back to come back. It was a lot of waiting. And it was horrible.
But we're talking about the game that like sold out. I mean, it broke records on its sale day. Like this is a game that everyone was hyped about, and for the most part, it actually maintained numbers throughout Destiny's its existence. I mean, it ebbed and flowed as content was released, but Destiny cannot be argued it was a very successful game.
Oh yeah, it was, and we're nitpicking a little bit because we liked the rest of it. We wanted it to be a full game, and I feel like we loved every aspect, and then there was these little annoyances, like you're just kind of like, I had to do this again, or so to the point where people actually created like apps to avoid it. Like they actually created like a tower ghost program,
like mods or
where you could actually like instead of going back and forth, you could just transfer it between characters and transfer between Vault and stuff and your mailbox. It made it a lot more simple, avoided a lot of the wait time, and that was the biggest I think flaw of the first one was the wait time.
So yeah, like Sweeney was saying, there's a lot of fan-based content that was created. Like people were making like apps where you could go on and like look for groups to do raids or high-end.
Because there was no group finder.
There's a lot of solo players out there, and this game is very geared towards groups of people. Like for us, we were lucky because we were 3 friends that are into this type of thing, so we're able to at least play together. But the raids are 6-mans, so if you needed to fill out the rest of your squad, if you don't know anyone in person that's going to play it, then you're kind of up shit's creek. But somebody made like Destiny LFG, or though Destiny itself, you can use their website and their forums and find other people that are trying to do the content you're doing right then and there, and you can do it right there. Fans made this game even more accessible, and Bungie, God bless their hearts, took a lot of notes during this process.
Oh yeah. But and the other big complaint was gear. I mean, it was all RNG. There was no real way to like force yourself to get good gear, which is how it should be. A lot of MMOs are always drop based,
Right.
Until Age of Triumph, though. I mean, the last year of the game, I mean, the Age of Triumph made it so you could force gear if you wanted to.
And then they so the Age of Triumph, like Phil was talking about, how when we all came back, is what they did is instead of forcing you to, only do the highest level content. So say if you really like the first raid, but that gear is so outdated now, there's no purpose for it anymore.
Right.
So that they allowed you to actually like up that gear to your current level or go back and do those raids on a higher, what they call light level. So like, I think the level cap was 30 in the first one?
20. It starts off at 20, and then once they made the first expansion, it got knocked up to 40.
Okay. So then
And that's when light level became like really important.
So yeah, that's your basic level. It's like, yeah, you go from 1 to 20. But once you get to 20 max level, then it becomes in your light power, which is pretty much a sum average of all of your power of each piece of gear or weapons. They all have a number on them. So that allows you to get higher up and do the higher level content. So that way you're, high enough to actually survive.
So
like raids.
yeah. So some raids could be level 20.
Right.
Some could be 16.
Right. So it would just get a lot, you'd have to get your gear to a level where you could go do raids. Same like World of Warcraft.
Right.
Just because you're max level doesn't mean you can hop into like one of the hardest raids and survive.
Yeah, you can't hit 20 and be like, all right, I'm going to take down the main boss now. No, you're wearing scrub gear.
Yeah.
Actually go earn it.
Right.
So one thing I noticed, because I didn't watch you guys play the first one a whole lot, with Destiny 2, I was under the impression that it was all first person, and I saw you guys flipping between first and third.
So that's kind of the cool thing about Destiny is like it is for the most part a first-person shooter, but there are super abilities for every class that put you in the third-person view, where you're like using space magic to do super powered attacks on stuff, like throwing out giant fireballs or smashing lightning blasts on the ground, stuff like that.
There's also like weapons that will allow you to do third-person too.
That's what I was gonna. But like, can you like choose to do first person through all of it and third person through all of it, or is it does it just does
so
it for?
It's mostly first person. All of your basic weapons are first person. Your guns, your hand cannons, your shotguns, your sniper rifles,
right?
All first person. They added in swords, so once you get you equip a sword, that made it third person because then you can see yourself and try to hit people with a sword.
Yeah,
or like
it's
Phil
a better
said,
view for 360 sword fighting than it would be first person.
Right.
Or like Phil said, the supers, they want to make sure you can see everything. There's also some other mechanics for like certain events or raids, or you pick up an orb, riding your sparrow, stuff like that. And then you'll actually be in that.
That's a land speeder for those of us who don't speak Destiny.
Yeah, it is. It's a floating it's like a speeder bike from Star Wars.
Yeah,
exactly what it is. It looks almost identical.
Yeah,
without the Ewoks.
There might be Ewoks, maybe. There's always a few.
Future DLC.
There's always somewhere, right?
The first Destiny actually introduced racing, so you could go and race your speeder bikes against other people.
Pod racing.
I did notice that. Yeah. It's just like Sparrow racing.
Yeah, Sparrow racing, and it was actually enjoyable.
Yeah, and it wasn't a permanent aspect of the game, unfortunately, because Sparrow racing was incredibly fun.
They brought it in and out, and because every week it resets. So sometimes they bring different events, and Sparrow racing was one of them. You also have a PvP version, which is called the Iron Banner, which is more of an elevated PvP.
Bring in like a sporting
This game
event.
offers a lot for different types of gamers. That's what really appeals about Destiny. Like for those of us that are into raiding and teamwork and puzzle solving, you got raids, and then you got your typical Crucible PvP people that they can get their jollies there.
And then didn't they bring in? Wasn't there a sport a ball something I thought they brought in some sort of
It was part of the Crucible, but yeah, it was more. It was like a basketball slash.
Oh, that's cool.
You get an orb and try to take the orb to the other person's base and slam it.
Yeah. It's almost so it's like basketball slash capture the flag.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
The person that has the ball can't use their guns or anything, but they can punch people.
Right, and that's what I was just thinking with the Sparrow racing. Do what they've done with Overwatch, for instance, of that kind of like soccer, but just do it with the Sparrow.
Lucio ball.
Yeah, so you could do
Lucio ball. Yeah.
Not Lucinda ball, but
or Lucio ball.
Yeah.
Because that's what I thought you were saying at first.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they could do that. They could they're okay in the tower and stuff that you're in third person.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they add little inside games you can do like that. There was in this new one there was a soccer field, so you could go kick the ball into the goal. It's not worth anything. It doesn't do anything fun, but it's just one of those little things.
For funsies.
Or you can play the floor is lava, which is pretty freaking awesome.
Here's what they should get the rights for Sparrow. Quidditch.
Yeah. They might be able to. Sparrows don't go very high, but yeah. So
keeping on with multiplayer, what kind of game modes are in multiplayer? Because you said you've got raids, you've got
Well, it's all multiplayer.
Yeah, so it's open world. So essentially, you could be anywhere on any of the planets, and everyone can be there up to a certain amount. I don't know what the max in the world is, but
I think it's gone up from 7. I know it's a lot more than 7.
Yeah,
now, but
it's open world. So if you're doing something a quest on a world, there will be other players on that planet. So it's all multiplayer.
Okay.
Now, if you're looking for specific modes, like that you force yourself into multiplayer.
Are you like expressing like co-op versus player against player?
Well, I mean, I guess I just meant like what kind of, because you said it's all multiplayer. Like, is it all just raids or is it just anything?
No, I mean, so think of it this way. So let's say like there's multiple planets in each game. Like the first game had like the moon and Earth, obviously. What was it? Venus, Mars, and like the moons of Saturn, shit like that. So now we've got like a different part of Earth. We've got the moon Titan. We've got a brand new planet that's not in our galaxy called Nessus, which is really the first non-realistic planet that we've been to.
And also Io, yeah.
So each planet has like a really expansive map, and I'm talking like pretty fucking big. And there's like mini quests and adventures and like beacons you can go to, patrols, all kinds of activities that exist in open world that you can go out and you can do with your friends or by yourself. And then you've got like more precise types like strikes, which are like 3-man story-based assaults on like a boss, and there's a boss at the end. And then you've got like the 6-man raids, which are a little bit more complicated and a lot more puzzle solving and probably the highest level content the game has to offer. So that's all like PvE, or player versus everyone.
Yeah. So when you join in the game, when you first start up, think of it, it's going to be like a single player and there's a story for you to go through. But the cool thing is you could play, you're going to see other random people as you're going through it, or one of your friends can join up with you and you could do that story together. Like,
oh, nice.
You could co-op the entire way through. You could play it all the way through. It doesn't really become you have to have friends or somebody to group up with until you beat the story. You get to the end. Now it's I want to go do other stuff.
Do whatever.
And along that way, there's those little side missions and side stuff that you could do. That's a branch off of the story.
So the multiplayer opens up just almost at the beginning, right?
Exactly.
Pretty much. That's that's interesting.
And you can even do Crucible at like level 1 if you wanted to. Like, because it doesn't take Crucible does not take into account.
Crucible's player versus player.
So player versus player. So it doesn't take it. So if you want, say you don't want to level the normal way, you're like, I don't want to do the story. I just want to play PvP.
Right.
You can do that, and it doesn't penalize you for being a low level. Like you don't the player level advantages are like they don't count, and it's all normalized in PvP or Crucible. So there is that method too. So then it's completely multiplayer, and it's just you going in and shooting other guardians
and just leveling up that way. That's interesting. I like that.
So yeah,
what else you got, noob?
Well, I mean, we didn't quite get to the Destiny 2 story. We kind of stopped there. So I mean, like Phil was saying, like we've pretty much triumphed. We're done. Like we've like fought off the darkness. We fought off everything, and we're like, yes, done. Well, then the Cabal, the big space rhinos or turtles or whatever the hell you want to call them, they take the Traveler from us.
They show up on our doorstep. They literally destroy all of our defense satellites. They rocket the hell out of the last city. They're killing civilians, and they attach this giant like space neutering device to the Traveler, which floats over our city and cuts all of our players off from the light. So we can't resurrect anymore, and we lose all of our gear and items from Destiny.
Any abilities,
that were in the tower.
Anything.
All of our magic powers are gone. We became scrubs.
Yep. Yeah. And it's really like if you haven't watched, anybody that has not watched like the cut scenes or like the trailers, they're epic. Like it's
cinematics are top notch.
Amazing cinematics. It makes you feel it's like you're watching a movie, like an animated movie short,
thing. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, you pretty much you go in, you try to fight them off. So you being the Guardian, you are attack their ship, go against, try to find their boss or try to whatever. And as you're going along, you're slowly losing contact with like the main people in the story. You're like, what the hell is going on? Why can't I talk to these people anymore? You get to the end, the neutering happens, your ghost falls down to the ground, and this big old Gaul, his name is Gaul, big old space turtle, kicks you off a ledge.
Albino space
turtle.
Even better.
And he kind of has the mask from, was it Darth Raven or which one was it?
That Malgus.
Malgus, there you go. Kind of has the Darth Malgus like mouthpiece.
Right.
And then so you're pretty much, the cities are gone.
There's a lot of tropes from awesome sci-fi intellectual properties that Bungie borrowed, but it is. I mean, but they're not like. He's not a complete Darth Vader rip.
No, he's not. He's pretty close.
He's white.
I mean, he's pretty close. But
It's white. That's the big difference. He's white.
So the backstory from Gaul is essentially he was like outcast from his tribe or whatever they're called from the space turtles. I'm not sure what they are. Pretty much outcast, and he got found. This other space turtle found him. Was kind of an outcast too, and raised him to be this all-being cabal. So now he's like taking everything back. He's going like he turned all the other tribes. I don't know what the hell they call them. But
they're legions.
Legions,
like I said, it's a lot like it's like the Roman Empire's army. So think of this guy like a wannabe Caesar.
Yeah.
He's been outcast from the rest of the cabal society. He wants to reform the society. He wants to basically go back with the light under his control and take over the cabal empire for the good of all cabal.
Right.
So he thinks the best way to do that is to steal our shit and become immortal himself.
Well, and the thing is, he doesn't want to just take it. There's a whole storyline that he feels he has to earn it, because if he thinks that he takes it, that's giving in. Like it's like he wasn't good enough to have it himself, so he just took it. So the whole premise of him coming here, not just like not just killing the traveler, is to take it from and make it like, hey, choose me, give me the light. Why did you give these humans or these races, the light, not me? And it goes to this whole story.
Like any good deity, of course, a traveler doesn't say a damn thing.
Right, doesn't do a damn thing.
Interpreters ourselves.
Doesn't do anything at all. So he takes the traveler. We have a person that's called the speaker who supposedly speaks for the traveler. He takes him too. So we have no light. You're kicked off a ledge. You're pretty much like bleeding, like dying out, and you're walking through this, rundown city trying to just get out because the cabal are going around killing lightless guardians. They're just massacring people. So you're trying to get out of the city, trying to get out into like the wild, so you can try to survive.
And without spoiling the rest of the game, basically you go on a quest to reclaim your light and to hopefully take back the city one day.
Right.
All right.
So that pretty much what I described was in the first trailer. Like that was like the trailer,
right,
essentially.
And I think I saw Andy and Phil. I think I saw you guys playing through that part.
Yeah.
Over the weekend. Were over when we were playing My Story. So
right. Yeah. And I think
just got in a couple days after launch to finally sit down and play. So you got to see a lot of that story. I
got to see that, and then I think we ended when your character got up and was like walking slow after getting kicked off the ledge.
Yeah. So pretty much the mechanics Destiny 2, they like Phil said, they listened. They heard what people complained about the first one. They fixed so much stuff. The load times, the gear stuff. Like they took all this pretty much knowledge.
Fast travel.
Yeah, fast traveling. Like so you don't have to like go from point A to point B on the map. Like it takes for maps are like these are huge. It'll take you a good 3 minutes just to get across the map. Now you can like pull up your map, find a specific point, and go to that map. You go to that point right away.
So it used to be there were these things called like public events where a random event would take place in a section of a map on a planet, and if you did that, you'd fight off a boss and do some certain specifics, and you get some gear and some experience from it. It was a really great way to get cool stuff. So now it used to be that wasn't, there's no way to know when it was going to happen. It was completely random. So people created an app that would time it. And based on people like reporting things in game, this app could accumulate and figure out when you could go to an area and know that an event was going to take place. Now it's in game.
Right? Oh, so the timer
now you look at the screen. Exactly.
So you actually can tell, oh, I'm in this section, or I need to do this, because the public events or like the world events would you usually have like an achievement or like a quest to do with so many in a given day or week or whatever.
Right.
So before you had to like hope, let me just go sit on this planet for 15 minutes and see what happens. And like if you miss it, then you missed it. Like shit, I gotta wait another 15 minutes. Now you can look at the planet, look around, like, oh, okay, this one's going to start in 4 minutes. This one's going to start in 3 minutes. Oh, this one's already started. Let me go to that one real quick. And that way it saves you the time of like the guessing game kind of thing. To
right.
the point
is something going to happen if I show up on X planet at this time?
And a lot of people complain that appeals to the more casual player, not the hardcore. But nobody has time to sit down and play 8 hours, 9 hours a day.
Right.
That's stupid to think that anymore. I mean, so it just allows you to actually have a life and still progress in this game.
Right. Exactly. We're not 12-year-olds with a whole summer to what?
Poop socks?
Poop socking.
Poop socking.
Poop soccer's gross.
That's Andy's favorite.
For those of you who aren't aware, this is an urban legend from the late 90s when EverQuest and World of Warcraft were getting big. Rumor was that a person played EverQuest for so long and never left their computer or room. that they took to taking poops in their sock drawer in socks and then hiding them in a duffel bag. And the urban legend goes that one day the guy, his roommate, found the duffel bag due to the smell, and thus poop socking was born. So now we describe all people who never leave their damn house and only play games all day long. Poop soccer.
Poop soccer.
The game was not even out for 24 hours, and there was people at end game content. And
Mom,
and all
bathroom,
that. And it's like,
bathroom,
Yeah,
step away.
exactly.
bathroom.
Yeah. Pop, mom, more hot packets.
Nah, more hot packets.
Exactly. So, and they also fixed like the fast traveling. So, like you said, the world events, the way you actually go from planet to planet now, you don't have to like go to orbit first, then pick a planet and then go. From whatever planet you're on, you can pull up the destination travel and go to separate planets or go back to the home base or go from there. And that way, even if you're like, oh crap, went to the wrong planet, you don't have to do the whole loading again, then pick the right one again, and all that crap.
Watch the spaceship again and
Right.
all that fun stuff.
So it's a little. They fixed that. They also changed up the weapon mechanics a lot. So like the first weapon mechanic was you'd have a primary weapon, you'd have a secondary weapon, and then you'd have a heavy weapon. That was like the mechanic. So you like primaries was like auto rifles, hand cannons, scout rifles, pulse rifles.
Gentlemen, I just want to throw out there, our clan just hit level 2.
Woo! Level 2 clan. Yeah, right.
Hold on.
You gonna be all right there? You gonna live?
Hold on.
Stop chugging balls. You'll be better.
Oh,
Dibs
we're,
on
I've
his
just got
comic
I've
books.
just got a cough.
Oh,
A
we're
real
holding
bad
on.
cough.
I just called dibs on his comic books when he dies.
It's
Yeah, that's not happening.
Are you dead yet?
Good.
Tim
Gordon.
stated in his will he wants to be buried with all.
I'll
with
be-
them.
I'll be buried with that Amazing Fantasy 15, motherfuckers.
oh, jerk.
Probably not.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, you have primaries, like I said, hand cannons, auto rifles, pulse rifles, scout rifles, basics. And then you have secondaries that are like, they have an element to them. So like electricity, void damage, fire.
Yeah, you're going into my next question, which was going to be the weapons and how they do work, because you mentioned supers, and I saw you with like electrical powers.
Yeah.
Like, is there any?
Buzz
is
didn't
there-
like that.
Buzz did not like that at all. Is there anything like? What other powers?
So most classes have, well, at
All
first,
classes.
all classes have at first, there was only 2 subclasses. So at very first, it was warlocks were either solar damage or they were void damage.
Okay.
Titans were either void or was it electrical?
Lightning.
Yeah,
It was
electrical, lightning. And then hunters, these are all the class names, by the way,
Right.
were either electrical, lightning, or solar.
Mhm.
That's how it started. And then they added the third one in the expansions,
Mhm.
and they gave the one element each class was missing. They gave them that other element. So void, fire, electrical. Not all. They have all 3.
Think of void was like a gravity type power.
Yeah, like dark,
Okay.
dark
Dark
magic, matter,
Yeah.
black
Dark
hole,
matter, gravity,
kind of like
right.
black
stuff like
holes.
that. So that was
Yeah.
now they gave every class has all 3. So they all can use each one. You can switch whichever one you want to use. Each one has special abilities specific to that
So-
class.
So is solar what, like fire? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So like the warlock can make mini suns, like little mini suns, like,
Okay,
as
cool.
grenades, and like they
Oh,
sit
that's
there
awesome.
and
Okay.
burn.
And then just toss them.
And this one they also have like fire. They throw like fire swords. Turn into like pretty much an angel and start throwing fire down.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
The classes are pretty diverse too.
Yeah.
Like each of them has like their own unique play style, which most gamers have a certain way that they play games like this. So they all
Right,
really
right.
lend themselves well. Like the Titans are very aggressive,
And they're very-
because they're like the beefy armor
They can
guy.
take damage a lot, like the tanks
Right,
on
and-
the game, pretty much.
And I take it that you can, like, when you start the game, you can choose to be one of these.
You can choose one of 3,
course.
Okay.
whichever one you want to play, and then you always can go back and create the next one that you want to do. But yeah, at the beginning you can choose whatever you want to do. Like you said, the Titans are aggressive. They actually make fun of them a lot in the game for being aggressive. BE aggressive.
clap, 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 clap.
So the Titan, their void or their dark matter class is a tank class. They actually create a giant void shield around them and the allies that can absorb damage. So
They would be classified as a tank in MMO
Right.
terms.
exactly. And then you have warlocks who were kind of like a DPS class, but also like a support role class. So they would have some of their abilities would give other classes like buffs. So like if you
They had an ability in their fire class in the first game that I like to call the noob ability, which was like a self-res
Right.
if you
they
died.
could res themselves.
So
Oh, okay.
a lot of scrubs, generated towards that class because they died a lot and they needed to get themselves back.
Or
up.
they saved the shit out of a raid.
Right,
with
exactly.
it.
Right.
'Cause
Bullshit.
in a raid, when you die, your ghost isn't there to bring you back.
Yeah.
And on the hardcore mode, your teammates couldn't bring you back either. So when everyone started dropping, and you're firing, and you're the last one to drop, you could pull yourself back up with it to keep. your
Okay, yeah,
chances
because I
going.
have noticed that like when you guys are playing, that your teammates are
Rezzing you.
Yeah. So yeah, and then the hunters was a pure DPS, fast melee class. So they had like their melee. They had a knife. One of their superpowers was they actually like turned into a form of electricity and like just dashed around really fast. Or the solar was like they had a single shot golden gun kind of thing.
It's 3-shot. The Celestial Nighthawk
Right.
exotic helmet made it a single shot.
Right. So yeah, it was a 3-shot, super powerful like fire bullet. So each class lended to whatever style you wanted to play. If you wanted to be like really super agile and quick and do a lot of damage, you would do like a hunter. If you wanted to be like the beefy, aggressive, I could take a lot of damage and still beat the shit out of you, you do Titan. If you kind of wanted to be like anywhere kind of in the middle, it was the warlock.
nice.
I mean, most players had one of each.
Right. You would just
Right.
Just be,
Your account, you could have 3 characters on one account, so
No,
you
so
can make
just
one of
be-
each.
That makes it
Yeah.
real easy.
Yeah.
Makes it real simple.
Yeah, some people do like multiple of the same one just to like try to like power level themselves. But yeah, essentially you would just do one of each.
Right.
one of Bungie's greatest strengths with this game is just how inclusive it is. It's just so much to do for so many people and so much options. Like it never basically tells you no. If there's a way you want to play or there's something you want to do, you can do it.
Yeah.
You want 3 characters? Cool. You want 3 of the same character?
Cool.
You can do that
Yeah.
too. It's frowned upon, but
And can
do
you
that,
can
too.
you are they like interchangeable once you hit a point, like a certain point in the game?
What do you
you
mean?
can swap gear between them, but you can't like but you can also like, change characters whenever you feel like
That-
it. But
yeah, that's what I meant. It, like interchangeable, as in like you're multiplayer and you're playing your Titan, for instance, and then you do that, and then you switch and you want to I'll be a warlock, or I'll
Yeah,
and then you can
would just sign out of that character and sign out of the next
that's what I
one.
mean. Yeah, okay.
So yeah, you would just like, okay, I've done this raid already on my
Right.
one character, and you can't get any more gear that week. I'm going to do it on my other character now, and so you sign out and sign back in with a different character.
And that's what I meant with like past a certain point is like you don't have to beat the story to do that at all.
well, each character you beat the story with
Right.
to level
right.
up. So
Right.
you would start. Well, once you got your character past a certain point, then you no longer have to restart. It's just you
Yeah.
can switch over back and forth, whatever you want to do. And like Phil said, some of the gear is interchangeable, like the weapons. So weapons you can pretty much put on any character, whatever you want. So if you have a really good weapon you found on this character, but you want to use it on this character, that's fine. You can just move it around. But like their gear they wear is specific to the class.
Okay. And you guys had just mentioned clans.
Yeah.
Explain that to me.
So
oh my God. So this is like one of the most fun things about Destiny.
right.
So we kind of started off, the 3 of us, and I guess there might have been a 4th, but who knows where the hell
He should not be named.
Dickhead. Anyway, so yeah, we used to be called like we were Mom Spaghetti for a while. And
Mom
we
Spaghetti.
Were,
Mom spaghetti.
Like the
Like
Eminem song.
Eminem?
Yeah.
palms are sweaty.
Salmon on sweater already.
What was one of our other clan names, guys? Do you remember?
Oh, what was the first one? Oh,
What? I can't even remember. Because Mom Spaghetti was near the end. You could change your clan
yeah,
name.
you can always change your clan
So
name.
we just
Nice.
we kept
Just-
changing it around.
Yeah,
God,
kept on
what
going.
was
Yeah.
it?
I'm looking it up. Give me a second here. YOLO Swag.
YOLO Swag.
YOLO Swag.
Oh, God.
Um,
Phil named that one, and we were
Thunder
like,
Chunk.
"Oh, Thunder Chunk." There you go,
Thunder
Thunder,
Chunk.
Chunk.
Thunder Chunk.
Thunder Chunk.
And now we are appropriately named
The Hateful
Geeks. So
And
Nerds.
yeah,
So the cool thing about this is the first game, clans were just really a social group. They didn't serve any in-game purpose. But now clans in Destiny 2 are a whole nother beast. You can earn experience based on performing certain activities in game towards your clan that you're in, and that'll level the clan. And then you guys get like special like clan-wide abilities
Right.
that like give you more in-game currency or better chance on certain drops, shit like that. But the coolest part is that when you complete like weekly challenges as a clan, everyone in your clan gets access to the rewards for that,
Right.
whether or not they were a part of the people performing that. So being in a clan now with a decent amount of people is more important than ever because you're going to have access to those rewards, you're going to have access to those benefits, and you've also got a group of people that you may or may not choose to play with socially. So there's no reason not to be in a clan, and there's no reason not to be in ours.
So find us.
Build the clan warrior style.
Right.
Gang warfare.
Gang warfare. Yeah. We've overtaken your clan. You are ours now.
You are now.
We've had some very cool people merge with us recently, like my friend Devious Dervish.
Yeah.
He brought a bunch of his squad over. We've had some buddies from that movie.
Those movie guys.
They
They actually joined our guild. Our clan.
They're hanging out with us. We're really excited to be gaming with Destiny 2 with them in the future. And check out their podcast.
I was gonna ask, can you dig it?
Can you dig it? So Bungie did make this game, but they did work with Blizzard a little bit on the PC. It's now on PC. It wasn't on PC before, and they wanted to bring it to that platform. So they put it on PC and with Blizzard's help. So I don't know, because Blizzard actually uses a lot of this same structure in their games for their guilds. And that's why I accidentally slipped up and said guild, because you can level your guild up and stuff like that. Same idea. But yeah, it's essentially just a social platform, but now that it has perks to give you rewards that's better
For joining the clan.
wide,
Right.
and it helps the whole group do better, level faster, and it's just kind of like another way to get good shit.
Nice.
So far, we've got about 22 people in clan. It's always getting bigger. We're inviting. It's an open clan. If you're a fan of the podcast, or you love Destiny 2, or you know some friends that you just want to play with, or you just want to play with us,
Right.
which we are very flattered.
Play with
go on
us.
the Bungie's website. Use the app. You can join up.
So yeah, so in the first one, you had primaries, like I said, secondaries with the elements, like I said, for like the different. They had the same elements as like the supers for the classes. So you had fire, void, and lightning. Same thing for secondaries, same thing for heavies. But like your secondaries they had fusion rifles, which is kind of like a shut out the energy of that, whatever it was. They had shotguns, stuff like that. And heavies were your heavy machine guns and rocket launchers, essentially. They added swords in later. That was your heavy.
Which I think swords is kind of awesome.
Oh, yeah, it was amazing. Because the only reason the way you got a sword before in the story was because at a certain point you had to pick up a sword from a hive knight and use it. And so after they added that, people loved it. Like, why don't we just give them swords in the game? And so they added that as an actual weapon you could get.
And they designed a lot of different sword structures too. Like there's like katana-like swords, buster swords.
Right.
And that's the greatest thing about Destiny 2 is they've kept swords in game as like a primary heavy weapon, but all of the swords have unique designs.
Right.
Now. They're super cool.
So, and one of the big things I like about the second game that they've made is the way they've changed up this weapon system. So it's no longer primary, secondary, heavy. It's now primary, stay the same.
Kinetic.
So it's like bullets, actual bullets. And then it's called an energy weapon. So your energy weapon can be any of the weapons of any, spectrum you already have. So any of the primaries, secondaries from the previous one, but now they just have the element added to them. So say if you want to run like a hand cannon as your primary and secondary, you can. Just the secondary, the second slot will now have like an element added to it.
Okay.
That's for piercing shields on enemies
Right.
because they use the elements as shields. So the same element will pierce the shield faster.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and then the same for heavy, or now it's called power weapon. So power weapons now are like still rocket launchers, still some machine guns, swords, shotguns are now considered a power weapon.
Snipers.
And they used to be a secondary.
Snipers are now considered a power weapon.
Okay.
And the same thing, they have elements to them.
Fusion rifles.
Fusion rifles, yes, thank you. And much to my enjoyment now is you actually have mods for each weapon, which this is new. They actually allow you to mod the weapon that you have, which may be adding a different element to it, which is the biggest problem in the first one is because you could get really awesome weapons, but if say it was an element that you have too much of or you don't use it often, then you're never going to use it because like Phil said, different elements do more damage on different enemies. So you kind of want those other elements.
And are these mods like Bungie's okay with it?
No, these are
No,
mods
like-
from them. It's like,
from
it's
them.
So
not-
in the
okay.
game,
So
you
don't-
could like find them as like
Oh, okay.
Rewards
like
and
drops.
stuff.
Oh, okay. I understood
So
it
not
as
my
like,
mod, not mod as in
Right.
like we're changing the game.
Yeah.
See, I took it as
Right.
like, because I know like
You've-
like for instance, like I think like Rockstar's kind of
Right.
like, okay, it's stuff for like Grand Theft Auto 5, for instance.
Right. No,
Think of it like field stripping an AK-47. For those of you who actually own a firearm, you can modify your firearm.
Right.
Legitimately.
so yeah, you can add like different perks to it. Some of them and they do have quality of mods too. So you have like your rare mods, your legendary mods. I'm sure there might be an exotic mod. I don't know.
Right.
Ooh, I hope so.
But so those will like add more damage to your weapon, or they'll just add a different element, or they'll change like the magazine size or the amount of recoil it has when you fire it. So this is another completely brand new, tool they've added to make you even more searching out the game, customizing the game for what you want to do with it, which I think is awesome. And it goes for your gear as well. So you can do this to your helmet, your chest piece, your pants, your boots,
Your cape.
Yeah.
This game promotes personal play style above anything else, and it's a really smart idea for their type of gaming.
Yeah, it is, and they've added these little things that it doesn't really feel like a sequel. It feels like a brand new game. Like it feels like this is how I wish Destiny 1 would have been. So it is. It's an already, like Phil said, an award-winning game that had millions of subscribers and made it even better. Like, I have no complaints about this game whatsoever.
I will give Bungie this. There were a lot of things about the first game that were like promised and then dropped the ball on before release. Things that people saw in development that never made it to final game. There were story elements that didn't make it to the final game. Half the plot hit the fucking cutting room floor of Destiny 1.
Right.
Destiny
I didn't know
2,
that.
they listened to their fans. They listened to what beef we had with the first game and the things that made the first game like tedious or annoying, and they just did away with it and fixed it.
Yeah.
So Destiny 2 is as good as Destiny 1 was, and then better.
And they didn't just reskin the enemies either.
Right.
They actually, so it's the same what am I looking at the word? The types of enemies that we have already mentioned, the different races. But a lot of them, they gave new abilities, the way they look, the way they interact, made them smarter. So in the first one, there was a lot of bugs. You actually could like trick enemies into killing themselves, which is like dumb.
Right.
I mean, raid bosses. I mean, you could trick a raid boss to walk off a ledge and you'd win.
Yeah,
Like,
they called
I literally did that. I
Wow.
threw a fireball grenade
Yeah.
at Atheon, and he killed himself by jumping off a cliff.
They fixed those bugs obviously eventually in the first one, but this one they made the enemy have a tactical retreat. Like if they're getting their butt kicked, they'll run away from you. They'll run away from grenades that are thrown. They'll dodge out of the way. If you're zooming down a sniper rifle, they'll get out of the way. Like they're intelligent AI. It's much more challenging in aspect, and it's much better for the overall feel of the game.
Well, I'm glad that they went like they listened to players' gripes,
Yeah.
and used the first one as a base, and then just built Destiny
It's
2
kind of
on
like
top
Destiny
of it.
1 was the beta. It was
Right.
like their alpha or their beta.
I mean, it was definitely like that with I'll just use Assassin's Creed for an example.
Yeah.
2's far superior over
Right.
1, but when that franchise went off a cliff. But
I'm not gonna keep talking about Assassin's
right.
Creed anymore.
right. So I've got a bit of a fun question for you guys.
All right.
We'll go one by one. What's your favorite weapon?
Oh, geez.
I want to hear Sweeney's first.
Oh, man. Favorite weapon in the first one or overall?
First one.
I mean,
We'll stick with the first game.
First game?
I mean, I was thinking overall, but
Well,
I
Or we
was
can-
because I have one right now that's fresh in my mind because it's in the new game, and then I just recently got to use it, and it's called the Risk
All right,
Runner.
what's-
The Risk Runner is they introduced a brand new type of weapon in the second one,
Mhm.
and it's called the submachine gun. So it's more of like a lighter weight, like I'm going to get right up in your face.
Kinda
and
like
I'm
an
gonna
Uzi.
unload this.
all right.
And this one they have, it's called an exotic weapon, so it's a little harder to get. You can only wield one exotic weapon out of your weapon set, and they add those like abilities to them. So this one has an electricity ability to it, and if you're shooting at one guy who is in a group of them, like there's a group coming at you, and you run up and you fire into it, it does like a chain lightning effect, and it just starts hitting them all. And if they have like electrical shields around them or they're like that, they drop even faster. So
That's
you
cool.
literally just hold the button down
And
and you
just
just mow everything.
Say
down.
hello to my little
And that
friend
one-
style.
and that
just,
one actually has a better perk too. That's even better than that. Is if you take arc damage, It's called what they have an arc coil on it, and so it essentially powers up the weapon and it makes it have infinite ammo for like 5 seconds.
No.
So you can just fire like crazy.
Right.
Yeah. So that is a really cool one. Man, if I have to pick one, and it's going to be an exotic, because exotic's the highest level, rarest find
that you can get.
can get. A lot of the ones you have to like randomly happen upon and get like a quest to go find it. So one of my favorite is Thorn. It's from the first one.
Okay.
It's a hand cannon. So it's a primary weapon. And it instead of shooting bullets, it shoots a giant arrowhead. That's like the best way to describe it. It's like a spike. Like essentially it's a giant just spike. And they're huge. Like they were like this big on the ground. You could shoot them to the ground and see them actually, which I thought was really cool graphical effect. But it also had a dot. It would add damage over time to enemies. So you actually could like shoot somebody and they would still take damage as they was running away. So I thought it was a really cool hand cannon. I'm a big fan of hand cannons, and I don't think anyone else in this group likes hand cannons. I'm a huge fan of hand cannons. You like Hawkmoon. I know which one you're going to pick. So
no, I'm not going to pick Hawkmoon, though Hawkmoon is like my baby.
Yeah, so your Hawkmoon was like your go-to for so many years.
But I liked Hawkmoon because it was a PlayStation exclusive, so I could rub it in the face of all my Xbox friends at work who didn't know what a Hawkmoon was for the first year. I'm like, oh, what? You sucks boxers don't have a Hawkmoon? Oh, that sucks. I do. It's beautiful.
Yeah, Hawkmoon was another hand cannon that would have random bullets in the chamber that would do much more damage. And essentially you would just be firing and all of a sudden you'd hear like the sound and be like it was like charging up, and that bullet would do more damage than the previous.
That's not my favorite gun, but I know my favorite gun. And my favorite exotic weapon of all time is the Gjallarhorn.
Yeah, you're going to pick everyone's favorite.
The
Gjallarhorn was a year 1, week 1 buy off of Xur, which is the random guy who shows up every Friday to like let you buy exotics with in-game currency. Gjallarhorn shows up on Xur the first Friday the game drops, and not everybody had been playing hardcore enough to have enough currency to buy the Gjallarhorn, or didn't think it was as good as it was. I did. I bought Gjallarhorn the first Friday, and that sucker made me a guard for a year.
So it's a rocket launcher.
It's
fucking
sweet.
Nice.
So there's the cool thing about this rocket launcher. First off, it looks badass. It looks like it was forged with like metal lions and shit all over it. So it looks badass off the bat. But the rockets, when they impact on something, split into little mini rockets, which destroy either everything around it or continue to hit what you struck with the rocket.
Wait, what? That's awesome.
They're homing.
Well, that and the whole thing, it has homing. So like you lock onto a target, you
And
fire the big rocket, it hits. All the little ones then hit home onto either the target that didn't die or something else, and it would just do tons of damage.
That's pretty ridiculous.
G-Horn was like an I win.
It was the button. If you got it, you had to use it.
There's no. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
And it was solar.
Yes,
It was solar. So
Yeah.
if you were fighting something that had a solar weakness, it was just
It's an ultimate. It's an ultimate weapon.
Yeah, it was
Is
like
what it sounds like.
once you got it, you had to use it. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It was required. Like in every raid, they would like ask you, like, "Do you have a Gjallarhorn?"
Yeah, shit, man. Destiny LFG for the first like 6 months was like G-Horn required if you wanted to join a rando raid.
Man.
Yeah, and I was one of the few ones because when I first started playing, I think I still had an Xbox at the time, so I was like I had both. So I bought it for Xbox. I had friends that were playing Xbox too.
I think I kind of remember that. Yeah.
So and then they started playing it a lot. I'm like, well, why don't you get it for Destiny? Why don't you get it for PS4 and play with us? I was like, oh, cool, I'll do that. But I'd already missed that first week. So I didn't get Gjallarhorn until I don't think I got Gjallarhorn until year 2 because it was a random drop. It was just random.
Man,
there was no other way to get it.
A lot of people were pissed about
there was
that.
no other way to get it.
Never showed up on Xur again.
I don't blame them for being pissed because it's like one day out of
right.
Man,
and there's no other way to get it. Like some of the ones have quests you can like get from like turning in certain things to force it to pop.
Right.
This one. Complete world random drop. There was no other way to get it.
I randomly got mine, and it was like the greatest day. It was like Christmas morning.
Yeah,
it's better than the birth of my son.
It's like I got Gjallarhorn.
The third expansion of Destiny 1 did have a quest where you could get your own Gjallarhorn. They listened to the fans.
So eventually they and it was the Iron. It was like the third one was with the Iron Wolves. It was like kind of like the Iron Banner people. You had to like fight for the Iron Wolves, and the Gjallarhorn belonged to the Iron Wolves. It was one of their weapons. So they eventually gave you a quest to go build your own. And so
the Rise of Iron.
So it was really like, yeah, you've only got one. You build it yourself. It wasn't as epic as like, because they did nerf it eventually.
Right. I guess really my last question is like, what's coming up in it? Like, what's their next event?
So
tomorrow night on the 13th is the drop of the first raid called the Leviathan.
So yeah, they actually put out a schedule for the whole month. We posted it to our Instagram. So if you out there don't know what's coming up, it's out there on our social medias. So they said tomorrow is going to be the first raid. Today, they actually dropped the beta for what they called guided raids or guided nightfalls, which this is LFG. They finally gave us a looking for group in game. So you actually can like join up with other people that have like proven themselves to be guides. And then once you're proving yourself to be a guide, you then can join in and you can take people through or, actually be a part of a group if you don't have people to play with, which is really nice because that was, like Phil said, if you're a solo player, you don't have friends, which let's be honest, some of us don't have friends. You can't do the hardest content. You can't do nightfalls, which is like a strike, but amplified with like modifiers to make it really difficult. Or you can't do raids. You can't do any of that stuff. So they've actually added in a version of this to give it a try and see if they can do it.
Nice.
And then, like you said, the raids tomorrow. And then Zur, like you just mentioned, his first visit will be this Friday.
All right.
And I think that's the big, stuff coming up.
I just want to say that one of the best things about this game is playing with your friends. Like, I think I enjoy Destiny when I'm playing with Sweeney and Andy more than I do when I'm playing solo.
Oh, yeah. It's a very
I probably
social
get a lot
game.
more done when I'm playing solo, though. But I definitely have more fun and enjoy it more when I'm playing with them.
It's definitely a social game. If you can get out with people that you like and enjoy, or can put up with, it's fun.
Tolerate them quite well.
Yeah, I mean, we've tolerated people in our group because we had fun with them, even though they weren't the best. Like,
right.
There's been those people, but it's still fun to play with those people because you know them and it's fun to play with. Or
there's two types of gamers. There are the filthy casuals, and then there's the hardcore. Right. And we like to dance somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah, we do a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Some weekends there'll be like 8-9 hour straight days, and then other days you may barely play 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean that's me.
Yeah.
So you have a PS4, don't you, Tim?
I do. That I do.
So I know that you're not all about first-person shooters, but there's a lot of things about this game that can probably elevate past that. So do you think you might be interested in giving it a try with us?
It's possible. I mean, there's some games coming out that I need to put my budget towards.
Something.
Get out on the street corner and make that paper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
need to
seriously. Yeah, like, because we can take you through it. We can show you the ropes. We can get you up to speed.
I just need to bite the bullet and start selling my mouth or something.
Whoa. That got dark.
Andy, check your wallet.
Oh, so hold on. So you guys can say street corners, but I can't say.
Well, see, it's all about just inferring the action. When you describe it like explicitly, then it kind of gets weird.
I don't care.
I'm not weirded out, Tim.
There's your first customer right there.
Phil's just curious. He's like, tell me more.
How much?
Put it on YouTube.
$5? $5 make you holla?
Sucky, $5.
Let's just make sure the mics are on when this.
I mean, speaking of, like, I got like Fractured Buttholes coming out, and I just pre-ordered.
That's a South Park game, guys. I don't know what else you might think it is. But.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot to put South Park in front of that, and I know Phil and Andy aren't going to really be interested, but I just pre-ordered NBA 2K18. So.
Yeah, I am. I know sports
you are.
games.
Yeah.
So those are all fun games, and they actually added a story mode into that too, which is actually going to be kind of cool.
How in God's fucking name can you do a story mode for a basketball?
They kind of added in like a GTA.
Like it's like
story mode.
It's like a you create a player like my player story mode,
and you actually like go through like the streets of wherever you grew up, whatever ghetto you or or city you came
Brooklyn
from,
or the projects.
Whoa.
That's football. Okay, so that'll be a Madden.
Yeah, a lot of football. Basketball guys are good to their wives, honestly.
Yeah. Basketball is guns in the locker room.
Yeah. No, football is where you get into a lot of the beatings because they just can't take it anymore.
All those roids.
Yeah. So no, Destiny. I definitely recommend the second one. You don't need to play the first one to know the second one.
Right.
So you can completely skip it.
Right.
There's really, if you really want to learn about it, go online and read about it because the game, you're not going to miss anything. The second one's just better. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I would say that Destiny 1, it had its moment, but obviously if you want to continue and you want to play with the largest group of people, you're going to play the second. There's no reason to go back to Destiny 1. Destiny 2 is amazing. And I think the best way to play it is with the Hateful Geeks.
Yes.
There you go.
And I will hold out my final judgment until I see the raids. Simply because we all played Sweater. We all loved Sweater. We like, yes, this game is awesome. Leveling's awesome. I love it so much. The characters are awesome. Get to the end. It shit the bed. It literally turned me off from the entire game. Like they brought out like several expansions. They brought out, like modifiers for the classes. I have no interest because the fucking end game was stupid.
Right.
So hopefully they need to go with the raids before. So I'm not worried about that.
Bungie has never, ever let us down with a raid.
Right.
All of the raids in Destiny 1 were good in one way or another.
Oh,
Vault of Glass
was the
is
best
amazing.
raid I've ever seen in my life. And I've played Warcraft since vanilla.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's a huge endorsement if I ever.
Oh, because it had the puzzles, it had the difficulty, it had the bosses that were just awesome. It just had everything. It was perfect.
That sounds like a really good,
Yeah.
pretty good endorsement.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I expect this end game in Bungie 2, Destiny 2 to work the same.
I hope
Their
so.
rates will be the same, and we'll get one every 3 months or so,
Mhm.
5 months,
There you go.
and they keep putting them out. And
that's
That's a pretty good turnaround, pretty good
and
basis.
that's another
Yeah.
good nice thing about them too is yes, they do add expansions,
Mhm.
but they wait until they completely divulge all of the stuff that they wanted to do on day one until they start making you pay for stuff. Right now, you don't have to pay for any of this extra stuff they're going to put out.
Mhm.
You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay to play for the extra raid or
Right.
extra. You can buy like vanity items, but you don't have to pay money to buy like the good gear, which I hate. A lot of like some of the games do that. It's all already there. It's all they have a really good system,
Micro transactions, just
which they have.
irritate
But like I
me.
said, it's all vanity stuff,
Right.
and even those you actually can get without buying them.
Right.
Which is smart. Bungie's once again figured out the formula. You can get access to the vanity customization stuff in game. You just got to put in the time and effort, or if you can pay money for it and get it quicker. It's smart.
ask
But
mommy and
there's
daddy for a
never a
credit
pay
card.
to win. There's no pay to win.
Yeah, no pay to win. You don't have to you don't have to do that to just get the great gear, which I
Good.
hate. The games do that sometimes. So conclusion is Tim's going to buy the game tonight. He's going to download
Awesome.
it and he's going to
There
play
he is.
right now.
Yeah, and then he's going to send me a quick message, and I'm going to send him an invite in game to join our clan,
Boom.
the Hateful Geeks.
Plan.
Possibly.
There's the plan. Don't deviate. Stay on target.
Let me finish Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Stay on target.
You're too low.
You're too loud. Do we have anything else we want to plug before we get off? Follow us on the Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Hateful Geeks,
Yes, do all of that.
and I'll whore out for the clan again. Join the Hateful Geeks clan.
Do it because Tim's going
Yeah,
to.
we're going to be playing a lot of Destiny too. So if you even want to talk to us or socialize with us, this is the only way you'll be.
Yeah, outside of this, we're gonna be on there all the time. So join us, join those movie guys, several of our other nerd friends, and we'll just yell at you for sucking.
My wife threw a going away party for me because she knew I was gone on release day. Seriously, I don't know where my wife is.
Seriously, she's lost. I don't know what happened.
I'm lost. I don't know where she is. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure our next episode will probably circle back into talking movies, shows, and everything. So if you haven't seen it yet,
Oh yeah,
go see it.
go see that.
you can float down here too.
Yeah, so
It was
yeah,
really good.
next episode we'll branch out a little more. We just wanted to get this review in because it just dropped, and one of our geek members had not played it. So we'll definitely touch on that
Yeah,
stuff.
to get learned.
Get learned
Get
now.
learned. Educate me. All right.
Well, we'll see you next time, Guardians. I'm Phil,
This is Sweeney.
I'm Andy.
And this is Tim.
and we are the Hateful Geeks.
It all floats.
Poop.
Poop.
Poop floats.
Hope floats.
He left the
All right, I'm going to stop.
And left a
I'm going to
floater.
stop
We all
recording.
poop
now.
down here.
We all.